Hi, I wanted to talk about a subject that I think is a very important thing that a lot of us have been through or are going through right now, or debating on whether we're even going through it at all or not. I've been through it, and I'm happy to say that I am no longer in this situation. And so what I want to talk about is toxic relationships. Now, these relationships can be anywhere from family members, friends, romantic relationships, even maybe like a coworker or something, or a boss employee situation. Toxic in this case means anything that brings you down as a person and makes you feel less of yourself, or makes you feel not worthy, not appreciated, not loved. If you feel constantly criticized, if you feel like there's nothing you can do right, or if you feel like this person is always controlling, or if you're afraid to make a move or do anything that would further make yourself happy or spur you on to some kind of success, and this person basically gives you crap for it, or just really has a way of making you feel really terrible for trying to do something for yourself. This is a toxic relationship. Other aspects of a toxic person are negativity, extreme negativity, extreme criticism, cleanliness. Not always, but sometimes they can be. They'll be clingy to you, and it could be in a confident way too. It's not always a negative cleanliness, but it's a cleanliness whereas they don't want you to move on. They need to be involved in everything you do or know what you're doing. And they get jealous or angry, angry, or just treat you really bad because you are doing something with someone else, or doing something for yourself, or whatever the case might be. Not listening to you and your feelings and your thoughts is another big one, big red flag, because, well, I'll get into more personal things later, but let's see what else. I would say walking on eggshells around this person, feeling like anything could set them off, or feeling like, oh, everything's going great, we're getting along, we must be okay right now, things are good, so I'm not going to do anything or say anything to upset them. I'm going to avoid this thing I want to talk about, or this activity I'm going to do. I'm not even going to mention it because I know that this good day I'm having with this person will be completely destroyed. That is a toxic relationship. That is feeling oppressed, stepped on, having to suppress everything that you want that's positive for you, just because you think today is positive with that person, and it's not. It's not. It's just you stifling your feelings to avoid confrontation. That's a big one. I feel like there's a whole lot more, but those are some main points of a toxic relationship. And so I'm just going to get a little bit personal for a few minutes to talk about my toxic relationship. And I highly doubt that this person is watching this video. But if they are, I'm not going to apologize for anything I'm about to say, and I'm not going to name names. But it's the truth. And unfortunately, the truth can hurt. And I think the truth hurts us when we know that we're being convicted. So, and we want to avoid being hurt. So, I'm just going to put this out here. And if that person happens to see this video, then so be it. The point is, I'm out of this situation so I could speak confidently on it. The hard thing with my situation was the toxic relationship I was in wasn't toxic in the beginning. It may have had signs of it, but I wasn't aware of it because I myself was not in a good place. I had very low self-esteem, and I was very shy and desperate for a friend, and really wanted a best friend. And so I met my best friend in junior year of high school years ago, and we were really good friends for a little while, you know. And then we kind of lost touch, and then we got back together, speaking like the summer after graduation, I want to say. And then we actually started getting together and doing things more after that. Back then, things were a little bit different. It was more of a misery loves company type of thing. We were both kind of the same person, the same type of attitude toward life and toward ourselves. So we didn't really lift each other up that much. I mean, we kind of did in our own ways, but we mostly just kind of were like, oh yeah, life sucks. Yeah, life sucks. It so sucks. That type of stuff, you know. Just kind of being very negative and just dwelling on negative things. You know, still having a good time being friends, but just not really loving life. So I would say the red flags started when I started to have a lot of anxiety, but I didn't see it back then. A lot of anxiety because this person would really push me to do things, not really bad things, but things that I knew that I shouldn't be doing because I had a prior commitment to someone else, to my family. I needed to be at home, but I had, for some reason, just felt really torn up inside about making a decision whether I should stay with this person or whether I should go home and do what I was supposed to do. And it just, that situation was over and over and over and over and over again. And it just really got to me after a while, to the point where I was terrified, and I'd like leave notes for my family like, I'm really, really sorry, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be staying over at this person's house. I'm going to be doing this, and I'll see you later. You know, that type of thing. Those like cowardly ways out of things. And then I knew that my family was really mad at me. But yeah, it just was a weird situation. Anyway, so that got built up to the point where I started fighting a lot with my family, and because I kept choosing this person over them, and it was a really big struggle. This is almost a completely different topic for me, because it's kind of like I've always been a late bloomer, and I had more of a little bit of a rebellious stage as I was older, like 19 to 23, rather than when I was a teenager. I was a really good teenager. I didn't do anything. So just, kind of not listening to people and doing what I wanted when I was older, and it just caused a lot of fights and arguments, and that was something that really changed my attitude for the worse at times. I remember getting in a fight with my dad one night and just taking off and being with my friend and just being completely negative and completely apathetic. Even though I knew deep down inside I cared, I was like, I don't care what happens. Everybody could die for all I matter. Things like that were just so negative. And I couldn't see it now. I mean, I couldn't see it then, but I feel like now that was just feeding into this toxic relationship. So, I ended up moving in with this person and her family. We went to community college together, and this is where I really actually started to see that something was not right in our friendship. The first time that we got grades and we didn't get the same grade and I got a better grade than her, she treated me like garbage. She was very pissed off. She did not encourage me. She did not say good job. She didn't, I didn't expect praise, but she was mad. She thought I did something terrible to her. I'm sorry, I was going to try to just keep saying they in this video instead of saying, who it is, but it slipped. So that was a big thing, and the fact that I wanted to move on and take other classes, because we took a lot of the same classes, the fact that I wanted to move on and think about what I would want to do as a career and possibly go to another school or do a job, those kind of things just terrified her. She thought I was going to leave her behind. She thought I was going to be more successful than her. And the things that she did to me, mind you, I was still in a state where I was not the most confident person. So I let her get to me. The things that she did to me, the way she treated me, emotionally abused me, kept me down and kept me from not succeeding and doing the things I wanted to do. So therefore I just said, I just failed on papers. I didn't try in classes. I failed a class because of it. And sometimes failed tests or didn't do homework. I was never like this. I've always been terrified of not getting my homework done and stuff, and just it was totally out of character for me, just because the way that this person made me feel emotionally. Knowing that I did a good job on something, or that I knew that I was going to get a decent grade because I did a good job on that paper, or getting my paper handed back to me and not showing it to her yet, gave me so much anxiety. I developed a huge anxiety problem because I knew that I was going to get treated really badly for all the good things that I was trying to do, for all the things that I was trying to, for all the ways I was trying to succeed, for just doing normal things, just doing assignments. I wasn't trying to outdo anyone. I was just trying to do the work to the best of my ability. Long story short, I kind of just gave up trying to succeed in college because of this. And I had one teacher that told me that I could move on because my writing was really good and I didn't even have to be taking this class, and that she would write something for me to go on to writing 101. I could have skipped the remedial classes. And of course my friend was sitting right next to me and heard all of this. Got treated like crap for the rest of the day, and I just didn't want to hear it, and I just gave up. I didn't take the letter, I didn't talk to the teacher anymore about it, and I just gave up. So you can see how a toxic relationship like that can really hinder your life. Especially when you already have a low self-esteem and this person is just making it lower and lower and lower. So, I feel like I could be here for hours talking about this particular relationship, but I'll just give you some highlights. As we got older, just anything I wanted to do separately from her was a huge thing. She needed to be there. She needed to be included. If we went to a Bible study or we went to something where we were learning something, if I was nodding or taking notes or, kind of just engaged in it, she'd comment on that and be like, well, I'm not going to say the thing she said, but she'd comment on it very negatively and want to know why I was doing this. Or if I wanted to look nice that day, and she's kind of like, who are you trying to impress, and just give me crap for wanting to look good. Just because she felt bad about herself. And it just got worse and worse and worse. Especially when I started to have an actual relationship with someone outside of her. That's when things got ugly. And I mean very, very ugly. She started getting depressed and cutting and suicidal and tried to drag me down with her and blame me and all the things I was doing apart from her for her misery and her depression and her self-harm. And the more I asserted myself and tried to get out of the situation, the more she was going down as I was going up. And I struggled. I struggled so much with that because I was worried about her and I still cared about her even though she treated me bad. And I had to struggle on what was more important to me, sticking around trying to save her while my life gets destroyed, or trying to get her the help she needs, or at least tell her parents what's going on and let myself move on. And these were some of the biggest and hardest decisions I ever had to make in my life. And they were not easy. I had a lot of advice from other people. I had a lot of prayers. And it was scary. A lot of tears and a lot of frustrations. But I had to get out of it because I knew that if I let her continue, that she would drag me down with her. And the biggest thing and the biggest worry for me was that if I left, that she would do something to herself. And that I would end up blaming myself for whatever happened to her. And I just couldn't. I couldn't do it anymore. So, long story short, God gave me, the guidance to do what I needed to do to get out of the situation. I had my relationship with Hugo, and she hated it. And we got married. And unfortunately, I couldn't tell her anything about it. She didn't want to be involved. She hated the whole situation. So how could I involve her in it? So it's just really difficult. There's so many details that go into the story. But it's just, I felt terrible for some of the decisions I made. Some of the decisions I made were probably not the best decisions, but it was to avoid a lot of conflict that would have made the situation way worse. So I just kind of had to secretly move on until I could move on enough where I can just be like, hey, this is what's been going on with my life. Deal with it. And, bye. I just had to cut the cord. And as difficult as it was, as painful as it was, because I still blamed myself for a long time, I am so happy that I did it. Because I have freedom. So God gave me a good reason to get out of the house. I had already told the people I lived with, that I got married and that I needed to move on someday. And there was a huge thing with that, and everybody was really mad at me for not telling them, but that's just that. So I went to go. I was still it was a very complicated situation where I was living apart from Hugo, but we were still in the same area, because he was living with my family. But we would see, I got to see him every weekend, and that's when I got pregnant the first time. And what happened with that, if you know me, if you've been watching my videos for a while now, you haven't, I know I keep saying this, but long story short, I had a miscarriage at 9 weeks. But they didn't want, when they found out I was pregnant, the people I lived with were like, basically, you better get out of here, you better come get your stuff and leave. And so I did. And I was under an incredible amount of stress during that time. And life was just not fun. Although I was happy about being pregnant, it was just a weird situation. It was a weird time. I was pulling away from this toxic relationship, and it was still eating me up from the inside out. But even though it was a very painful time for me during the miscarriage, I was able to move on from that and have a wonderful little boy who was about ready to wake up soon. So I should cut this video short soon, but the point is, that was a catalyst. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to have some dramatic catalyst to get you out of your toxic situation. I was just very fortunate that things worked out the way they did. But there's got to be something that has you wake up and realize, I am in a situation that is not good. I have been miserable for years. I don't like myself when I'm with this person. I don't like who I become. I don't like the anxiety I feel. I don't like the crippling feelings of being caged and not having freedom to be myself. If you feel this way, you need to get out of this toxic relationship. I'm not kidding you. I'm here to tell you right now. You have to get away from this person. It doesn't matter who it is or how much you love them. You have to get out of it. And it hurts. It's not going to be easy for either of you. You can try to talk it out. But if you've been going through this for years, that person's not going to change. That person's not going to treat you any differently. No matter how many promises they make. I know people can change, but they didn't change all those years they were hurting you. So you just have to go. If you can get away, you're going to have to try. And that's what I did. And I'm very happy and grateful for it. And if you have somebody who could help you to get out of this situation, even better. Find somebody that you can talk to. If you need to talk to me, I'm available. Message me, or we can do email or something. Or I'm on Instagram. Look at my About Me section for all that stuff. But I'm serious. If you need somebody to talk to about getting out of a toxic relationship, I'm willing to listen. But you really need someone physically there who could help you and listen to you and guide you. And never underestimate the power of prayer either. Anyway, so that's my spiel on toxic relationships from personal experience. And I wish I had more time, but I gotta go. My little boy's up. And I love you guys and have a wonderful day.